welcome to online SURD part 7. Yes, part 7 involves calculation galore. Okay, but as even next week, we're going to dedicate next week to solve as many questions as possible. And for now, for today, we're going to solve some questions around simplification. We touch base on each of the topic that we've done so far from part 1 to part 6. So here, first and foremost, we are doing something, we're going to solve questions under simplification questions. Okay, so let's say number 1, we have square root of 200. Okay, then number 2, we have square root of, let's just say, 44. Number 3, we have square root of, let's just say, 225. Okay, number 4, let's say we have square root of 100. Okay, then number 5, we can have square root of 99. Then number 6, we can have square root of 98. Okay, let's just start with that. Okay, so from next week, we'll be dwelling more on the past questions, either the objective part or the theoretical part, of which I know all these questions will help students that are in SS1, they're in SS2, they're in SS3, they're preparing for their SSC or GC, coming GC or coming SSC or coming NECO, okay, or coming JAM, because this question also comes out in JAM, okay, and you can always remember how to solve this question if you have dived deep into as many questions as possible. Okay, that is how you master, and that is how mathematics become part of you, and that is how you can you can fall in love with mathematics. You know, dive deep into so many questions and touch base as many questions as possible, so that at the end of the day, even if they wake you up while sleeping, you'll be able to tell them that, oh, simplification of SURD means that you break it down to the lowest, okay, without being able to move further again. So number 1 here, let's take root 200. That's number 1. Okay, now from root 200, we know that we can divide this into 2, which means that this one is the same thing as 100 times 2. Okay, so, and this implies from the multiplication value SURD, you know, like I told you, multiplication of value SURD is the same thing as, you know, this one is the same thing as root 100 times root 2. Okay, and this implies that for multiplication of value SURD, you can have, that is root a times b equals root a times root b. You see that that is surfacing under this question, and I've also mentioned this earlier. It means here, it implies, you know, here that a is equal to 100, b is equal to 2. That is why we're able to split it into 2. So this implies that root 100, we know 10 times 10 is 100. So it means I can say 10 root 2, which means that the simplification of square root of 200, square root of 200 is equals to 10 root 2. Okay, so that is the first question here. So what we'll now do is that we'll move to number 2. Very simple. You see how simple it is. Simplification of SURD is very simple. Most times it comes in objective, okay, and if they want to tweak it a bit, it comes in theoretical part. But if you're not very careful, you might fall victim. But if you solve as many questions as possible, you'll have seen the various ways that question can come under this part. So we have number 2 here. Number 2 is root 44. The same thing applies. I can divide this by 2, and this one can give me, that's 22 times 2. Okay, so most cases, always look at inside the SURD or inside the square root. Look at something that can divide it. Let's assume it could be 2, it could be 3, it could be 4, it could be 5, it could be 6, it could be 7. So, but in this case, 2 can divide 4 and 44. That's why I'm having 22 times 2. If you times this now, it gives you 24. The same multiplication table. Don't let me mention it again because I have it up here. So this one is the same thing as root 22 times root 2. Now, if you look at 22, I can still divide 22 again. I can say 22 is the same thing as that is 11 times 2 times root 2. Okay, so I can split this again and say root 11 times root 2 times root 2. Okay, and don't forget, in multiplication table I can bring this together. Okay, which means that this is root 11 times, take one square root and bring the two together, 2 times 2. Okay, so which implies that this is root 11 times root 4. Okay, so now what is the square root of 4? The square root of 4 is what? 2. So that's root 11 times 2. Then you can now have 2 root 11, which shows that you cannot simplify this further again. So the answer of root 44, you now tell them that, which implies that root 44 is equals to 2 root 11. So which means this is correct here. So that is how to simplify. This is another part on how to simplify. So imagine that something like this comes out in a theoretical part, either in your either in your school or either in the exam, and you simplify it like this. No matter the marker that will be marking it, it is self-explanatory. You will be able to understand exactly what you've done. Okay, so it's very, very key for you to understand what we mean by simplification of SURD. Because I cannot simplify this further, I had to stop here. Because I cannot simplify this one to further number one, I had to stop here. So that is very, 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 very important. So then it means that we can proceed to that's number three. Number three is that's root 225. Okay, so I can see that here what can go here is 5 can go here. So this one is the same thing as, that's 5 in 22 is what? 4. Okay, it will remain 2. 5 times 4, 20, it will remain 2. 5 in 25 is what? 5. So it means 45 times 5, okay, will give me 225. So 45 times 5 will give me 225. I can go ahead and say, oh, okay, now I have 45 times 5. What can go in 45 again? I'll start thinking 2 cannot go. 3, can 3 go? 3 here, 1, then 5 times 3, 15. Okay, so it means that if I say 3 here, 3 in 4, that is 1. Then 3 in 5, that is what? 15. Okay, so it means 5 times 3 can give me, so this one is the same thing as root 45, root 45 times root 5. Okay, so now 45 is the same thing as 15 times 3. 5 times 3, 15. Carry 1. 3 times 1 plus 1, 45. So 45 is the same thing as 5 times 3 times root 5. Okay, now if you look at this very well, you will now say, okay, 5 times 5, 25. Now look at this, I can split this from multiplication table. That's root 15 times root 3 times root what? 5. Don't forget, we are trying to simplify it to the lowest. So from here, I can now say, what else can I do? What else can I do here? I can say, okay, 15 times 5, that will give us what? So 5 times 5, like that is, I can bring this that's root 15 times 5 together, then times root what? 3. So 5 times 5, this one will give me 75. 5 times 5, 25. 5 times 1, so plus 2. Then this one will give me what? Root 3. Now, if you look at this very well, 25 times 3, 25 times 3 will give me 25 times 3 will give me 75. So I can say this is root 25 times 3. Okay, then times what? Root 3. Okay, that's 25 times 3 is 75. Then I bring down this root 3. So let me just continue here. This one I can continue it here. So now I can now say I can split root 25 times root what? 3 times root what? 3. You see now it's having a shape now. What's the square root of 25? Square root of 25 is what? Square root of 25 is square root of 25 is 5. Okay, 5 times 5, 25. Then this one is the same thing as what? Square root of 3 times what? 3. So 5 times square root of what? 9. So 5 times square root of that 5 times, that's 3 times 3 will give us what? 9. So 5 times 3 is what? 15. So it shows that if I use 25 at the beginning of this place, that is 25 can go in this one. But because I started with what? 5, that is why it's taking me these steps. So, but now if I use 25 and say, okay, 25 in 100 is 4. In another 100 is 4, that is 8. Plus this, that is 9. So I can see this one is same as 25 times 9. So it won't take me these long steps. Okay. But nevertheless, if you know what you're doing, since you know 5 can go, then you will still arrive at the same answer. Okay. Let me give you an instance that okay, where you can also use 25 times 5. You can also use 25 times 5. Then I can give you an example of what you can do here. So since we've understood this one, let me clean this part. Let me clean this number 2. Okay. So it means that I can say root 225 is the same thing as 25 times 9. Okay. If you don't want to go through this method that we do for this number 3, instead of me using 5, which is taking us longer time to arrive at the answer here, you will still get the same answer. Okay, you don't have to be scared. But let's assume you're in a jam standard, or perhaps maybe you've understood, you've played around with SURD very well. You know that okay, you can use 5. You will know that yes, you can also use 25 can also go. In 100, you have 25 times 2 is 50. In 100 is what? 4. In another 100 is another 4, which is 200. Then with the addition of 25, making 9. So 9 times 5 here, 9 times 5 is 45. Okay, you carry 4. Then 9 times 2 is 18 plus 4, that is what? 22. So here I can use multiplication sign and say root 25 times what? Root 9. So from here I can say what is this? This one is what? 5. What's this? This one is what? 3. And the answer is what? 15, which is also the same thing as what I got here. So it's still the same answer. Okay. So either you use 5 as your first division or you use 25 as your first division, you will still arrive at the same answer. If you're in a jam standard or you're solving it's better you use this method so that it will be more faster because of time. But if you're working with maybe theoretical or maybe SSC, the same thing. If you know this, it's faster for you. But if you also know this one, it's also you'll still get the same answer. So now let's move to, I think we've understood this. Let's move to we're moving to number 4 now. So number 4 here, we have root 100. Okay, so we all know that 10 times 10 is what? 100. Or you can say 20 times 5 is also 100. That is 20 in 5 places. It depends. Okay, let me use 20 times 5. It depends. So if you use 10 times 10, it's still the same answer you will still arrive at. It's just similar to what we did here for number 3. We use 5, we still got the same answer. We use 25, we got the same answer. It's just that one is shorter than the other one. Okay, so here now I'm using 20, I'm using 25. Okay, let me use 25. 25 times what? 4. is equals to 100. That is 5 times 4, 20, carry 2, 4 times 2, 8 plus 2, that is 10. So now I can split this into root 25 times what? Root 4. Okay? So now what is root 25? Root 25 is what? 5. That's 5 times 5 is 25. Then root 4 is what? 2. So the answer is equals to 10. So which shows that root 100 can be simplified to what? 10. Okay? So that is 10 times 10 is what? 100. So that is a perfect square. So now if you want to show you're working on how to get there, ordinarily we all know this by heart. That's okay, 10 times 10 is 100. But how did you get it? Is it that you just cram it like cram lapo? No. So but you can also show how you can show them how you got the answer. So let's just move to the other part. You see that is very, very interesting. Okay, I've introduced it step by step so that you can understand. And now I'm solving questions related to each of those parts, which is simplification questions. And now you can see that it's very, very simple. Okay, so if we go to number 5, okay, this is root 99. We are told to simplify this to the lowest form. So it means if you look at it very well, 9 can go here. I can say you can also use 3. If you use 3, it will also work for you. Okay, but it's just that it might be longer, but you will still arrive at the same answer. But here, I can also see that 9 can go. If I say 9 divided by 9, 9 here 1, 9 here 1, 9 here 1. So that is 11. So it means that it's 11 times what? 9. Okay? So multiplication valid sort. Valid sort in multiplication, that is multiplication, then it means this one is something as what? Root 11 times what? Root 9. So from here, what is the square root of root 9? That is 3. So it means it's what? 3 root 11. So which implies that root 99 is the same thing as 3 root what? 11. Very simple. You can see that it's very, very simple and straightforward. So let's move to number 6. Number 6 is root 98. Okay. Number 6 is what? Root 98. If you look at this very well, let's now take it one at a time. Now, 2 can go here. Okay. 2 can go here. Then we can say, let's say, can 2, yeah, 2 can go 4 times 2. Okay, 4 can also go. Okay. Okay, 4 cannot go. That's 4 times 4, 16. 4 cannot go. Okay, 2 can go. That is 2 here, 4. 4 times 2, 8. It will remain 1. 4, 2 in 18. That's what? 49 times what? Times 2. Okay, 9 times 2, 18, carry 1. 4 times 2, 8 plus 1, that is 9. So it will still give us 98 back. Okay, so now I can now look at it and say, okay, what can go in 49? Is there anything that can go in 49? And I think 7 can go. Okay, because if I look at 7, 7 times 7 is what? 49. So I can say that I can now use multiplication to do this. That's root 49 times root what? 2. Okay, 49 is a perfect square. 7 times 7 is 49. Okay, so since 7 times 7 is what? 49. It's very simple. It's just your multiplication table. If you say 7 times 3 is 21. 7 times 2. 7 times 2 is what? 14. Add 7 to this. If you add 7 to 14, that will give you that will be 20. Okay, 7 to 14, 3. That's 24. 7 times 3, 7 times 2, 14. 7 times 3 is what? 21. Okay, so 7 times 3 is what? 21. Then 7 times 4 will give you what? 28. Then 7 times 5, add another 7 to this, that will be what? 35. 7 times 6, add another 7 to this, that's what? 42. 7 times 7, add another 7 to this, add another 7 to this, is what? 49. That is means that, okay, 7 times 2 is 14, 7 times 3 is 21, 7 times 4 is what? 28. Add 7 to 28 will give you 7 times 5, which is what? 35. 7 add 7 to 35, which will give you what? 42, which is 7 times 6. Then if you add 7 to 42, it will give you 49. So it means that the square root of 49 is what? 7 times root what? 2. So it means this answer is what? Square root 7 root what? 2. So that implies that root 98 is the same thing as 7 root 2. So for this section, which we are treating questions, we call it maybe part 7, which implies general questions. Okay, for now, then next week we'll have to tag it as what? Past questions. Okay, that is part of the past questions that we'll be treating under SURD. So this is just the question under simplification so far. We have a lot of questions that you can play around with. I can start formulating questions from one question to the other. Okay, so but I will appreciate that any of the questions we give to you, also try and get other questions that you can also play around with. So this is very clear. At least we've been able to treat 6 questions under simplification. Then next week we'll be able to tackle exam questions, real-time exam questions under simplification, so that you can see how useful SURD can be in mathematics. It's very, very interesting. All you just need to do is just to pay attention and follow the series part by part that we've provided, so that at the end of the day, when you're solving question, you'll be able to remember. You can see that in simplification of SURD, the value SURD that is very, very key is the one of multiplication, multiplication of SURD, which is square root of a times b, okay, is equals to square root of a times square root of b. You can see that that value SURD keeps surfacing on each of the questions we are solving under simplification. Thank you very much. I will appreciate you like, you share, then you also comment so that other people can learn and also add knowledge to what they've known before. Cheers.